The silent guest. The night was unusually still, the kind of stillness that makes even the wind seem like it's holding its breath. Lucy sat in her grandmother's old house, a sprawling Victorian relic deep in the countryside. She hadn't been there in years, not since her grandmother passed away. The place had been left to her, but she rarely visited. Something about the house unsettled her, as though it had been waiting for her return. She had come this time because of a family gathering. It was meant to be a peaceful weekend, but tonight, alone in the creaking halls, the house felt different, alive. Earlier that evening, the power had gone out, plunging the house into a darkness so complete, Lucy felt like the walls were closing in on her. She found an old oil lamp in the basement and lit it, the flickering flame casting long shadows that seemed to dance across the walls, their movements just a little too deliberate for her liking. As she sat in the sitting room trying to distract herself with an old book, she heard a faint knocking. It was subtle, as if someone was gently tapping on the window. She froze, listening. The knocking continued, steady, soft, almost polite. Lucy stood up, clutching the lamp tightly. She walked over to the window and peered out. Nothing, just the dark, expansive garden stretching into the woods beyond. But the knocking continued. It wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from behind her. Heart pounding, she turned around. The sound now seemed to come from the hallway just outside the room. She stepped forward, the lamp in her hand trembling slightly as she made her way toward the door. The moment she stepped into the hallway, the knocking stopped. She strained her ears, listening for any sign of movement. Nothing. Lucy moved cautiously through the hall, feeling as if she were being watched. As she reached the staircase, she noticed something odd. On the dusty floor just beyond the bottom step were footprints, small childlike footprints leading up the stairs. Her breath caught in her throat. She was alone in the house, or at least she thought she was. A sudden chill washed over her as the air grew thick with an oppressive silence. The lamp flickered, casting erratic shadows on the walls. Slowly, she ascended the stairs, her heart racing with every creak of the wooden steps. At the top of the staircase, the footprints continued down the hallway and stopped in front of her grandmother's old room, the one that had been locked ever since her death. The door was slightly ajar, a thin sliver of darkness spilling into the hallway. Lucy hesitated, dread filling her with every step she took. She pushed the door open, revealing the cold, dark room beyond. The lamp's light barely penetrated the gloom, but enough to see a figure standing by the window, its back turned to her. It was a child, a small girl, her hair long and matted, wearing a tattered nightgown. She didn't move. Lucy opened her mouth to speak, but no sound came out. She took a step forward, and the girl slowly turned. Her face was pale, hollow, and her eyes were empty voids. Her mouth opened wide in a silent scream, a scream Lucy could feel but not hear. The air in the room grew thick and cold as the girl stepped closer, her outstretched hand reaching for Lucy. Suddenly, the lamp went out, plunging the room into darkness. In the pitch black, Lucy felt the cold fingers close around her wrist, pulling her into the abyss. The last thing she heard before everything went silent was the soft, rhythmic knocking once again, this time from inside the walls. And then, nothing. The house had its guest,